midnight to 2:35. The video opens in classic audit style, with the creator immediately setting the mission, a First Amendment stress test in public space. From the very beginning, the tone is intentional, not random filming, but a deliberate challenge to how people react when a camera enters their environment. As the camera settles at the Sky Mint Cannabis Dispensary in Portage, Michigan, the environment feels calm on the surface, but the framing already builds anticipation. The location choice is important. A high-traffic dispensary right off the highway means constant movement, meaning reactions are almost guaranteed. The first subtle shift happens when a staff member approaches. It starts politely, almost casually, "Can I help you with anything?" But underneath that politeness is uncertainty. The employee isn't hostile yet, but clearly uncomfortable with the camera presence. The auditor maintains control of the interaction, keeping responses short and slightly provocative, not giving away full intent. That tension creates the first layer of suspense. Two people, different expectations, and no clear agreement on what is happening. This opening segment works because nothing explosive has happened yet, but everything is positioned for escalation. The viewer can feel that first misunderstanding brewing, like the calm before a confrontation that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. The tone shifts when curiosity turns into concern. The employee begins asking more direct questions about why filming is happening, and the comfort level drops noticeably. What started as casual curiosity now becomes suspicion. The auditor stays firm, repeatedly emphasizing that he is simply recording in public. This is where the first real friction appears, not aggressive yet, but clearly divided viewpoints. One side sees a normal public recording, the other sees a potential problem inside their business environment. The key turning point happens when the employee decides to step away and possibly escalate the issue internally. That small action changes everything. It signals that this is no longer just a conversation, but something that may involve authority or management. The energy becomes heavier here. The auditor remains composed, but now observes more carefully, anticipating the next response. The viewer also starts to sense that a larger confrontation is coming. This is no longer about curiosity, but about control over the situation. The situation escalates sharply when law enforcement becomes involved. A police officer arrives on scene, instantly raising the stakes of the interaction. The presence alone changes the psychological tone. Now the interaction carries authority pressure. The auditor immediately shifts into rights-based questioning, asking for incident details and maintaining a firm stance on transparency. The officer, however, responds with visible irritation, creating a subtle but important tension between public inquiry and official authority. At the same time, a civilian confrontation begins forming in parallel, adding more complexity to the scene. A customer becomes emotionally triggered after noticing the camera, escalating into a heated exchange over being filmed and having personal property recorded. This segment becomes layered: officer tension on one side, public frustration on the other. The auditor remains in the middle, controlling the flow through questions and legal framing. This is where the video fully transforms from a simple audit into a multi-angle confrontation involving law enforcement, public perception, and personal conflict all at once. The confrontation intensifies when the civilian reveals he is a military veteran, shifting the emotional weight of the discussion. He challenges the filming more aggressively, demanding justification and expressing frustration over his vehicle being recorded. The auditor responds by redirecting the conversation toward constitutional rights, specifically First Amendment protections. This turns the interaction into a legal and ideological debate rather than just an emotional reaction. The veteran attempts to assert authority through personal service, while the auditor counters with legal grounding. The clash here is not physical, it's ideological: experience versus law, emotion versus principle. As the exchange continues, the veteran's energy starts to drop. The confidence fades slightly as the legal framing takes over the conversation. Eventually, the interaction de-escalates and he walks away, leaving the auditor still in control of the narrative. This segment stands out because it shows a full emotional arc: confrontation, justification, challenge, and resolution, all within one continuous interaction. The final segment brings in another wave of public reactions, including both curiosity and hostility. A new individual approaches aggressively, questioning why filming is happening without authorization, which reignites the legal debate. The auditor remains consistent, reinforcing public filming rights and challenging the logic behind the objections. The interaction becomes back and forth, but the emotional intensity is lower than earlier confrontations, more repetitive resistance than escalation. Meanwhile, another bystander shows curiosity rather than anger, even referencing familiarity with similar audit content. This contrast highlights one of the core themes of the video: different people interpret the same situation in completely different ways. As the rain begins and conditions worsen, the auditor wraps up the session. The closing tone shifts into reflection, summarizing reactions and reinforcing the idea that public filming exposes a wide spectrum of human behavior, from calm acceptance to strong resistance. The video ends on a familiar audit-style note: encouragement to subscribe, engage, and reflect on what just happened, leaving viewers with the central question: how should public spaces react to being recorded?